Su Yu became a new king anchor, but unexpectedly, his king live broadcast was broadcasted in ancient time and space. With one mind reaching the sky, the gods and demons are fearless. If there is a desperate situation, it is not possible to experience life and death in 10 directions. Li Xian, the god and demon. In Xianyang City, Emperor Qin Shi Huang looked at Li Xian, who had just been defeated in battle, with a bewildered expression on his face. When will this guy be so awesome? Turning 3,000 miles in one body, one cavalry can become 1,000,000 troops horizontally. Marshal Saint Guan Yu can participate. 3 kingdoms, Liu Bei. My second brother is invincible in the world. Fengshi returns to her hometown, exploring the 4 seas to seek her phoenix. Feng Qiu Huang, Li Bai. Li Bai looked at the skin of his lover Wang Zhaojun and widened his eyes. Finally, there are also King CG broadcasts, team up and rank as the 5 blacks, and Emperor's chaotic battles. There are many modes that excite the Emperors, making their eyes turn red. Keywords of the novel. I live stream the King Fighter, Ancient Emperors are numb. No pop-ups, I live stream King Fighter, Ancient Emperors are numb. Download the complete set of TXT, I live stream King of Fighters, Ancient Emperors are numb. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. The king starts up. Zhutian Wanjie live. Emperors are shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 King. Start. Zhutian Wanjie live. Emperors are shocked. In Longhua, an old residential area without even air conditioning and elevators after finishing his junior year, Su Yu, who was interning, glanced at his phone. Class group, students in the group Crazy Roast. Everyone, what kind of job are you looking for? Internship and stamp. MD, over 600 have sorted out history majors. Internship is not even easy to find a job. I really regret not listening to Zhang Xifeng's advice, Zhao. The classmates in the group keep scrolling through the screen. Su Yu turned off his phone and opened his laptop, which he had been using for over 3 years. Not being professional is a waste of effort. It's really hard to find a job these days. Fortunately, his King of Glory operation is quite good. Since that's the case, then try becoming a king anchor. King of Glory, activate. Su Yu has strong gaming skills, but started relatively late among the anchors of King of Glory. It is not easy to make money through live streaming. It has been a while since it started broadcasting, and his live broadcast room has been lukewarm. There aren't many fans either. After starting the live broadcast, Su Yu immediately clicked into the game interface of King of Glory. Put on a BGM that you like without hesitation. I always cry secretly, like a tired bird missing its return date. What Su Yu doesn't know is, when he started this live broadcast, the gears of fate begin to turn. At this moment, over the skies of various dynasties in history, a sudden golden light appeared, followed by a sky curtain. The supernatural phenomenon immediately aroused countless onlookers and discussions. There are also many people who believe in gods. Starting to worship non-stop towards the sky. He exclaimed in his mouth, "This is a miracle, the gods have appeared." The Shang, Chao Gu, Lu Tai. Emperor Xian Shing mobilized the masses, gathering famous craftsmen from all over the country and treasures, which took a full 7 years. Built a luxurious and magnificent palace. It also built hundreds of palace buildings, arch of wooden architecture cornices, carved beams and painted rafters, which are magnificent and magnificent. Emperor Xian, together with Daji and the singing girl, held a banquet for the feudal lords of the world to celebrate. The worship of the feudal lords was originally a day of great prestige for Emperor Xian. But a vision appeared in the sky, and all the people worshipped, and even many lords worshipped the heavenly curtain instead of him. Make him furious. Emperor Xian looked at the people kneeling under the sky curtain and couldn't help but shout angrily. Stand up. No kneeling. King Wu Jifa and Jiang Zia believe more in gods. I was originally planning to bow and pay respects. But it was stopped by Xian's angry shout. This made many feudal lords and the people of the Shang dynasty slightly dissatisfied. Those who follow the heavens live, those who go against the heavens die. Jiang Zia smiled faintly and whispered in a voice that only he and Jifa could hear, the Shang dynasty is running out of time. GFA's intention is to lead the divine understanding, with a calm and expressionless appearance. I still maintain a devout attitude towards the appearance of miracles in my heart. During the spring and autumn period, Confucius and Laozi discussed the Zhou ritual in the official storage room of the Zhou dynasty. The two disciples were everywhere, founding Taoism and Confucianism respectively, and had a prominent reputation throughout Kyushu. A conversation between two top figures who founded the school. The disciples of both outdoor families are eagerly waiting to maintain a sense of purity for both of them. Laozi and Confucius had a great conversation. Suddenly, bursts of exclamation came from outside the room. Look! A miracle has appeared in the sky. Master and Laozi argue that the phenomenon of miracles appearing in heaven means something. Taoism and Confucianism should be blessed by miracles and passed down through the ages. The outdoor noise is becoming increasingly intense. The conversation between Laozi and Confucius was also interrupted. The two of them exchanged a glance and then stood up to go outside to observe the miracle. When the two of them see the sky curtain, both of them were slightly stunned. What does such a miracle mean? Confucius was the first to ask a question. Laozi replied calmly, the will of heaven cannot be violated, it cannot be changed by human labor. You and I may as well observe its changes and observe the miracles. Confucius nodded. The two of them held their hands and looked up, observing the miracle in silence. During the Qin dynasty, Qin conquered the 6 states and unified the world. A massive frame cruises majestically to the old land of Chu state. Wherever the convoy passed, the people knelt down in fear. In the crowd, Liu Bang was able to catch a glimpse of the first Emperor Xuanrong on the golden carriage. I couldn't help but sigh, that's what a big man should be. Xiang Yu, who also knelt before him, looked disdainful in his eyes and said, take it and replace it. Arrogant and arrogant words. Scared, Uncle Xiang Liang next to him trembled all over. Quickly make him shut up. A golden light flashed by, and the sky suddenly appeared. Everyone looked up at the sky. Then bursts of exclamation erupted in the crowd. Miracle! This is a miracle. Seeing a miracle is a great blessing in this life. A miracle has descended, bless our country. Everyone was eager to kneel and pray devoutly towards the sky curtain. Ying Zheng, who was inside the frame of the golden wand, also heard a sound and lifted the car curtain to walk out. At the moment of seeing the sky, my eyes suddenly lit up, filled with joy. He chose to patrol the east in order to demonstrate the prestige of the state of Qin and conduct another thorough sweep of the remaining evils in the Qi region. In order to achieve the ultimate goal of consolidating imperial power and strengthening governance, it is also a behavior to appease the people's hearts and comply with public opinion. Of course, his biggest goal during his eastward tour was to seek the legendary elixir of immortality. As he grew older, Ying Zheng increasingly felt the approaching of death, in order to maintain his youth and become an immortal emperor. Only then did we launch this grand eastern expedition to seek immortality. At this moment, a miracle has descended. It just represents that the deity fulfilled his wishes. Is it really a miracle? There are indeed immortals in the world. I don't know if this miracle contains the secret of immortality. Someone, hold a banquet on the spot. I want to have a good viewing of the miracle. Zhao Gao, who was accompanying him, immediately responded with a nod. No. Then he began to arrange banquets and the altar for observing miracles. 3 kingdoms, Hulao Pass. The 18 feudal lords responded to Yuan Shao's call to suppress the bandits and joined forces to suppress Dongzhuo. The 2 armies are facing off at Hulao Pass. In the oppressive period of impending war. Suddenly, a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. Various feudal lords and Dongzhuo all walked out of the camp and came to the open space to observe the sky. I don't know if this miracle is good or bad. Dongzhuo looked at the sky curtain and said anxiously. The strategist Li Ru spoke up and said, if the Prime Minister has the Son of Heaven, he should have received the mandate of heaven. The appearance of this miracle will definitely help our army defeat the coalition army. Upon hearing this, Dongzhuo laughed happily. Order the establishment of an altar to worship the gods and miracles. In the camp of the 18 feudal lords. Yuan Shao and other feudal lords were equally worried, unable to understand the meaning of the miracle. Cao Cao laughed up to the sky and said, our coalition army is the army of the King Qin who seeks out thieves. My fate lies with me. This battle will surely be won. Yuan Shao and other feudal lords were immediately overjoyed. Similarly, a temporary altar will be set up to worship the gods and miracles. The 2 armies have fallen into a rare period of peaceful ceasefire. During the Wu Zhou period, the divine capital was Luoyang. The construction of the Tongtian floating 2 pagoda, which stretches 66 zhang straight into the sky, has been completed. Wu Zhutian took Guanwaner, Di Renjie, and others to investigate. A mutation appeared in the sky. Di Renjie immediately exclaimed to protect you. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. CG Battle of Red and Blue. Divine Game. Li Shimin was shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 CG. The Battle of Red and Blue. Divine Game. Li Shimin was shocked. At a time when people from different dynasties and generations were still anxious and unsure, the scene in the sky suddenly lit up. The rivers formed by the convergence of blue radiance extend rapidly, illuminating the dark space. It's moving. The miracle is changing. Quick, fast. Record everything that happened in the miracle. Ying Zheng and his group, who were observing the sky, didn't have time to build the altar at this moment. Immediately start looking up and staring wide in the eyes. Staring intently at what happened in the light curtain. Afraid of missing any details. Everyone from different dynasties and generations also stopped their movements and looked up at the miracles in the sky. Since ancient times, there exists the ultimate power in the universe. God, take it to a new world. A clear and melodious female voice slowly spread out. Everyone felt that the woman's voice carried an indescribable sense of nobility and coldness. It's like a god towering above, with no trace of emotion in his voice. Although the pronunciation is different, it seems to have some kind of magic. Let everyone understand the meaning of the immortal's words. God. This word seems to have great appeal. Suddenly making everyone's breathing heavy. The word God is like an unattainable existence. That is a transcendent existence. Even Ying Zheng, who unified the 6 countries, has always had great respect for the so-called gods. And now, it seems that he has seen a God in the sky. And about to see the ultimate power. Is there really a deity in the world? The ultimate power. Will it be the power of immortality? Ying Zheng's hands unconsciously clenched tightly. Zhao Gao quickly ordered someone to bring the carriage and let Ying Zheng sit comfortably to watch the sky. In the sky, the blue radiance converges into the appearance of countless people. The most visible one among them is a woman who embraces the sky with both hands. The radiance continues to extend, and countless humans pay homage to the God with ultimate power. In an instant, the radiance condensed back into a towering tower towering into the clouds. Is this the ultimate power? creating such a creation in an instant. Emperor Xian and Empress Zhutian couldn't help but exclaim. This towering tower of heaven, even the powerful Shang and Zhou dynasties. It will also take several months to build. But in front of the powerful power of the God, it seems that it only takes a moment. Dixin experienced this power far beyond the world for the first time. In the face of this force, even as an emperor, he felt a sense of powerlessness from the bottom of his heart. The core of the arc, the power of creation. People call it this way. It can make civilization prosperous and miracles stand tall. Zhutian had not yet had a chance to marvel at the grandeur of the tower. This tall tower exploded with a loud bang. Massive energy is spreading out. Countless raging red radiance surged out of the high tower. The clouds were stirred up, as if even the sky was trembling. It can also bring the world to an end. It is the power of creation and also the power of destruction. The red and blue radiance intertwined vertically and horizontally, rapidly extending forward. Finally, there was a fierce collision. Boom! Two exquisite energies burst into a dazzling sky. The whole world seems to be filled with these two radiances. But there is a clear distinction. Some people crave it, some people guard it. Two major camps, therefore the war is endless, and the flames of war cannot be stopped. Immediately after, two sides emerged fighting fiercely. So the god sealed it, making it untouchable. Until today. Two surging red and blue energies converge into a seemingly assembled polyhedron. That's what the god refers to as the core of the arc. Then the scene in the sky came to an abrupt end. Only 4 big characters emerged. The king goes on a campaign. Everyone from different dynasties and generations was shocked by the strange stories in the sky curtain. Staring blankly at the sky, my whole body was too frightened to move. The power of the god seems to have plunged the two camps into an endless struggle. What exactly is this being revealed by God? Shining miracles, this is the story of the gods, showcasing the invisible mystery to the world. Countless people are kowtowing and burning incense to kneel before the sky. Mouth murmuring with words, devoutly praying for something. Even Xian, who did not believe in ghosts and gods, fell into silence. No one can explain such a miraculous celestial phenomenon. The game has started. Unlike the previous cold and heartless female voice. A slightly lazy male voice slowly sounded from the sky. It seems like a fairy who has seen through the world, examining everything in the world with indifference. A little joking around the world, playing with the endless grandeur of the world. The words fell. The people of each dynasty and generation suddenly trembled. His expression was full of shock. Ying Zheng stroked the armrest of the car and slowly stood up. His gaze swept over the high courtier Li Zhao. What does the fairy say about the game starting? Do you all know what this means? Su Fu, not far behind Zhao Gao, respectfully said. Your Majesty, perhaps the endless slaughter at the gods have shown us before is God's game. The powerful power of God plunged the two camps into an endless struggle. Perhaps it contains the mystery of longevity. Upon hearing Chongsheng, Ying Zheng's eyes immediately lit up. He went on a tour to the east this time, listening to Su Fu's advice and seeking immortality in order to achieve longevity. Now that he has seen a miracle, he also firmly believes in Su Fu's words. During the Zhongguan period of the Tang dynasty, in Chang'an, Tang King Li Shimin and Empress Changsun sat on a knee joint, looking at the strange phenomena appearing in the sky. Li Shimin felt a bit flustered in his heart. He just ended the Xuanwu Gate incident and became the emperor of the Tang dynasty. At this moment, a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. Heavenly phenomena, is it not that God wants to punish me for my actions? Empress Changsun comforted and said, Your Majesty, the game of immortals. Explaining everything in the world is just a game for immortals. Even though the world is a game of immortals, we are just chess pieces in fate. There is no right or wrong in the world, and it is fate that makes it happen. Shimin finally felt relieved and looked up at the sky with some reverence. God's game, playing with the world, really makes people yearn. During the Ming dynasty, Ing Tianfu, Zhu Yuanzhang, along with Empress Ma and other officials, observed the miracle outside the Fengtian Hall. Can someone explain the fairy's words to us? Is the appearance of miracles good or bad? Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't figure out what the immortals in the sky were saying, and his expression was unpredictable. He just established the Ming dynasty not long ago, and his suspicion is very heavy. Founder Li Shanchang replied, Your Majesty, the miracle of the founding of the Ming dynasty is an auspicious sign. Admit that the Ming dynasty conforms to the will of heaven. God bless the Ming dynasty. This statement made Zhu Yuanzhang feel extremely comfortable. Immediately burst into a joyful smile. Okay. That's great. We feel comfortable in our hearts. Come on, reward me. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Bad, how did I become a wizard? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Bad, how did I become a wizard? New anchor. If you like the anchor, please follow me in the sky. Su Yu's lazy divine voice rang out again. People from different dynasties and generations immediately began to speculate wildly about the words of the gods. Anchor. What is an anchor? Why is God's attention not about hearing and seeing, but about needing something? Is this God's extraordinary ability? You can pay attention to others without hearing or seeing. It's really unimaginable. During the Great Qin period, Ying Zheng looked up at the sky and asked lightly. Zhao Gao, do you know what the immortals' words mean? Zhao Gao racked his brain and pondered for a while, then bravely answered with trembling fear. Your Majesty, perhaps the anchor in the oracle refers to the gods. Perhaps this anchor is a new god, which is why he brought miracles to the world and used this point of attention to communicate with the human world. This is a rare communication between immortals and humans. Your Majesty, don't miss this blessed opportunity. Ying Zheng nodded and tidied up his appearance. The gaze towards the sky was filled with respect. I will never miss the opportunity with the anchor. During the reign of Emperor Taizong of Tang, Shimin didn't seem to have any intention of punishing the immortals when he saw them, and he seemed to be able to communicate with them. Instant dragon beauty joy. Someone, quickly invite the alchemist and teach me the way to seek immortality. I want to follow the anchor. Wei Jing immediately spoke out and admonished each other, blocking them by saying, The arrival of miracles was not done by the alchemists. It should be your Majesty's high moral standards and concern for the people's livelihood that moved the upper realm and brought immortals to the Tang dynasty. Your Majesty, please continue to prioritize the court and the people. Diligently govern, continue to work hard, and win the love of immortals. Although Shimin was very unhappy in his heart. But he is not a foolish ruler, and the person who hears advice is Wei Zheng. He could only nod with a dark face. Continue to observe the miracle. A mysterious interface appears in the sky that makes it difficult for people to understand. It seems that an invisible hand clicked on the word position in the sky curtain. Then I entered another interface, accompanied by a few big words of start matching being clicked. In an instant, an interface with countless portraits popped up. Please select your hero. The mechanical female voice rang out again in the sky. It seems like a pair of invisible hands are changing the interface within the sky curtain. Everyone only felt that the god named the anchor seemed to be controlling the sky curtain. And everything they saw was intentionally done by the anchor. Take the world as a game. Su Yu glanced at the hero pool and chose his favorite hero. At the moment I selected Master Ying Zheng, this game had already been won. He said these words, firstly due to the effectiveness of the program. Secondly, it is confidence in one's own strength. But in the years of many emperors in the heavens and realms, it has made many princes, generals, and prime ministers not calm down. During the Great Qin period. Upon hearing these words, Emperor Qin Shi Huang Ying Zheng's face was filled with confusion. I am actually a wizard. He is the supreme figure of the 9 and 5, commanding the world. In the mouth of God, it seems like a sorcerer like Su Fu. Su Fu was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat all over his body, and his soul almost flew out of his head. Immediately knelt down and frantically nodded, quickly explaining. Congratulations Your Majesty, congratulations Your Majesty. God plays in the world, taking human heroes as pioneers. Your Majesty has won the 3 emperors and the 5 emperors in the derby. Only then will he be selected by the immortals. He has become a hero of the gods. It is evident that Your Majesty holds a pivotal position in the hearts of immortals. After listening to Su Fu's explanation like this, Ying Zheng smiled somewhat smugly. Next second. Screen transition. In the sky and in the world, I am the only one who stands alone. Young and domineering voices ring from the sky. A young king wearing a crown slowly floated in the center of the sky. Lift up with both hands wide open. The sound of a sharp sword piercing through the air followed. Then countless sharp swords shot out from the hands of the young king. The young king embraced his chest with both hands, floating in the void, surrounded by sharp swords. Staring at the world with cold and proud eyes. Seeing the young king's appearance, Ying Zheng was slightly surprised and said, Am I going back to my old age and youth in the future? How could I be so young? Do immortals have any means to make me rejuvenate? The thought of rejuvenation and immortality made Ying Zheng's mood become somewhat excited. Many kings after the Qin dynasty. Seeing Ying Zheng with a majestic demeanor in the sky. Everyone was shocked by it. Is this Ying Zheng's youthful appearance? That's what the immortal said, it must be true. Why are you still hanging your feet in the air? Surrounded by a sharp sword. Does it mean that Emperor Shi has already ascended to immortality? It must be the immortal guiding the maze, making the first emperor immortal. The first emperor seeks immortality and enlightenment, and we can also seek immortality. During the reign of Emperor Wu of Han. Lu Che. Someone, please quickly summon the ghosts and gods, alchemy sand, and waiting gods. The first emperor will become an immortal, and I will also become an immortal. Han Chu. Lu Bang looked at Ying Zheng in the sky, his legs weak in fear, and he collapsed on the dragon chair, sweating profusely all over his body. Pointing at Ying Zheng in the sky, he panicked and shouted. Ying Zheng. It's Ying Zheng. Why is he still alive? Ying Zheng claims to be the ancestor dragon will not die, and the state of Qin will not be destroyed. If it weren't for the death of Ying Zheng, how could the world of Great Qin fall apart? At present, it seems that Ying Zheng is not dead at all. But rather to associate with immortals, to become immortal and attain enlightenment, and to have good fortune and longevity in harmony with the heavens. Nowadays, the extraordinary heroic figure of Ying Zheng appears in the sky. Seems to be staring at him with a piercing gaze. Watching him, the future king who stole the Qin dynasty. If Ying Zheng truly became an immortal, he would learn in the heavenly realm that the Han dynasty had replaced the Qin dynasty. In a fit of anger, the lower world is full of misfortune. Ying Zheng became an immortal and achieved enlightenment, but the great Han was in danger. Lu Bang struggled to get up from the dragon chair. I dare not look directly at Ying Zheng's sharp gaze like a sword. Break free from Empress LV who wants to help him. He was running around in embarrassment, hoping to hide in a place that Ying Zheng couldn't see. The Han dynasty can be destroyed, but Lu Bang must not cause any trouble. Han Xiang Zhongliang saw Lu Bang panicking and immediately stepped forward to help him. Your Majesty, don't panic, he comforted urgently, let's take another look. Take a good look. If the former Emperor Ying Zheng truly became immortal and achieved enlightenment, why did he wait until the establishment of the Great Han Dynasty to appear? Why did you appear and not take action against your majesty? Comforted by Zhang Liang, Liu Bang stopped his panicked figure and immediately ordered the guards on both sides. Quickly spread that King Han Xian of Chu led a large army to Beijing to escort. At the moment of seeing Ying Zheng, Liu Bang was really panicked. However, after calming down, he still chose to face Ying Zheng directly in the sky. Miracles come, it's a blessing, not a disaster, but a disaster that cannot be avoided. The scene in the sky changes again. The crowd also briefly cast aside their previous thoughts. Continue to concentrate on observing the scenes within the miracle. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Whole Army Attack. Walking with God, Ying Zheng. I am a bully. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Whole Army Attack. Walking with God, Ying Zheng. My cow is driving me crazy. The screen in the sky changes again. The crowd also briefly cast aside their previous thoughts. Continue to concentrate on observing the scenes within the miracle. A loading interface with 10 people appeared in the sky curtain. The mage chosen by the gods, Ying Zheng, was seen by people throughout previous dynasties. Also one of them. Everyone looked at the 10 people in the sky, feeling puzzled. What is the situation? Why are so many people with the first emperor? Are these people all heroes selected by immortals like the first emperor? Seeing the immortal choose so many heroes. Many kings of different dynasties were very tempted. Obviously, immortals will not choose only one hero. If fortunate enough to be selected by immortals, one can regain their youth and ascend to heaven like the first emperor Ying Zheng. During the Sui dynasty, Emperor Yang Guang of Sui was on a dance floor filled with beautiful women and delicious food. While admiring the wonders of the sky curtain, I embraced the beauty for fun. See the interface of 10 people appearing in the sky. Suddenly, my eyes lit up, and I threw away the beauty in my arms. I stood up ecstatically and pointed to the sky. Excited and incoherent, he said. Oh my! Did the immortal choose so many heroes? Although I don't know who the emperors who were with the founding emperor Ying Zheng were. But as the 9-5 sovereigns, I am equally honored. Perhaps in the future, I may also be selected by immortals. If I achieve enlightenment and become an immortal, I will live the same life as heaven. My dear minister Yuan Huaji also flattered and said. Emperor Ying Zheng is the ruler of the world, and you are also the ruler of the world. The first emperor can be selected by the immortals, and you, emperor, will definitely be selected by the immortals in the future. Yang Guangyue was overjoyed and burst into laughter. Just wait for when the immortal will descend to meet him. Welcome to King of Glory. The enemy has 3 seconds left to reach the battlefield. Let's launch an attack. The voice broadcast of the mechanical female voice begins. A horn-like charge sounded in the sky. Everyone's blood seems to boil with the sound of the charging horn. Just it seems that the 10 people who appeared at the beginning were divided into 2 camps. They can only see 5 people, including Ying Zheng. The people of all dynasties looked at each other and once again fell into confusion. Only 5 people are called the whole army to attack. This kind of person, I can wave my hand in the village more than just shout out. Also, what is this King of Glory? During the Wu Zhou period, Wu Zetian, Di Renjie, and others observed miracles in the palace. Di Renjie, do you know what kind of situation is in this miracle? Wu Zetian was enjoying the massage of the palace maids. Asking the Prime Minister Di Renjie lazily and softly. Di Renjie didn't answer and turned to look at the guard Li Yuanfang. Yuanfang, what do you think? Li Yuanfang not only has exceptional military strength, but also extraordinary intelligence and strategy. After a brief observation in the sky, he respectfully saluted and answered with confidence. Your Highness, Your Majesty. These are all the great figures chosen by the immortals. One person is worth 1,000 soldiers and horses. And the glory of the king should refer to the place where the 5 people are located in this miracle now. Of course, it could also be the name of the entire game in the host's player world. De Rengia nodded in satisfaction and praised, saying, Not bad, this is exactly the name of the game, player world, for the anchor. From choosing the first emperor as the hero of the immortals, to a 10-person battle between the two sides. This game may be exceptionally exciting. Zhutian suddenly nodded with an open mind. I see. She didn't initially understand these things very well. But being prompted by the words of Li Yuanfang and Di Renjia, I immediately understood the deep meaning behind it. The scene in the sky began to move around Ying Zheng as the center. It seems to be faintly visible, this is a complete sandbox map. It is the first time that people from all dynasties have seen such a miraculous thing. I couldn't help but shout and scream. The scene in the miracle is actually moving. What a magical sand table. How did this actually happen? Indeed, the means of immortals are not something that ordinary people like us can speculate on. During the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhang carefully scrutinized this sand table map capable of walking and movement. I was a bit lost for a moment. There are many thoughts in my heart, but unfortunately, there is not enough culture. After pondering for a while, I couldn't hold back a few words from my mouth. After carefully observing and scrutinizing, Lu Bowen couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. This place is like a deduction compass. It's incredibly mysterious. The immortal takes the heroes of the world as pioneers, and in this sandbox, deduces changes. It may seem like there are only 10 people, but it coincides with the changes in the battlefield, and among them, it is extremely dangerous, with a hidden murderous aura. Upon hearing this, Zhu Yuanzhang immediately gave Lu Bowen a thumbs up and praised him. Well said. It's exactly what we thought. Lu Bowen nodded nervously. Su Yu was unaware that his live broadcast had already been broadcasted to the heavens and generations. He is just focused on playing his own game. Control the hero Ying Zheng in the game and head to your own tower outside the middle road. When passing by the defense tower, the people of all dynasties looked around curiously again. It seems that both sides are bound by a defensive tower and are subject to some strange constraint. During the Great Qin period, Meng Tian, who was stationed on the Great Wall, watched the layout of the defense tower. It seemed like something was on my mind, and I couldn't help but sigh. What a wonderful sand table layout. These tower-like things should be like a city, right? The cities are crisscrossed and closely connected, encompassing half of the map. What a wonderful sandbox layout. I'm afraid this sandbox corresponds not to a battlefield, but to the entire country. Ying Zhengshue's cleaning speed is very fast. After quickly grabbing the line, you can go to support or obtain neutral resources. Overall, Ying Zheng is a very powerful hero. The lazy divine voice came again. Although everyone couldn't understand its meaning. But when I saw Ying Zheng lighting up his first skill, he released it and killed the soldier. Upon seeing this, Zhao Gao immediately began to compliment the starting emperor. Congratulations Your Majesty, congratulations Your Majesty, you have replaced the will of immortals to kill enemies and generals. In the game of immortals, Your Majesty, you are the majestic god of war. Many courtiers around the palace also imitated Zhao Gao's appearance. Bowing in unison, they said, Congratulations to Your Majesty, congratulations to Your Majesty. Emperor Shi smiled and waved his hand, saying, same joy, all the beloved ministers are on equal footing. It is a rare and beautiful thing for him to receive such a high regard from immortals. In reality, he has never been to the battlefield. But in the game of immortals, he is very powerful. Killing enemies and generals is as simple as eating and drinking water. when Su Yu was steadily developing and preparing to kill the Middle River Elf. The assassin on the opposite side, Ake, stepped on a red buff and charged straight from across the grass. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Amazing Assassin. Black Silk Fishing Net. Excited Cao Cao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Amazing Assassin. Black Silk Fishing Net. Excited Cao Cao. The moment when Ake's figure appeared in the sky. The gaze of people from all dynasties was naturally drawn to them. Ake was wearing a tight-fitting bra, delineating her sexy and hot figure to the fullest. The absolute realm between black knee-length stockings and shorts. The two red ribbons on the back sway around like tails. Two slender human-like blades clenched tightly in the palm of the hand. The seemingly soft and boneless body can unleash astonishing power. The stunning features under the mask are half hidden, and the faint tear mole under the corner of the eye. There is a hint of pity in the icy cold. Seems to have died under the hands of such a peerless beauty. It's also a beautiful thing. Men from all dynasties who were imprisoned by feudal ideology. How have you ever seen a woman dressed like this on a normal day? I was immediately blinded by Ake's blatant attire. What a rare and charming beauty, it's hard to control. It's common to see stunning women on Earth, such a charming beauty is rare. The characters who can be selected by immortals are truly extraordinary. During the Three Kingdoms period, Su Changqing. Cao Cao, along with many strategists and generals, watched the Tianmu miracle on the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Seeing Ake's appearance, Cao Cao stroked his short beard and sat upright on the high platform. His eyes were fixed on Ake's graceful body, full of admiration. I was mesmerized by it and couldn't help but sigh softly. It's a pity that such a beautiful woman can't sleep with her at the same table. Cao Cao's personal guard, Su Chu, had a burly appearance, measuring over 8 feet in length, with a waist circumference of 10, a strong and resolute appearance, and unparalleled courage. The guests present, including many armored soldiers with halberds, couldn't help but glimpse the miracle. Only Su Chu stared with a pair of circular eyes, carefully observing the plants and trees on the Copper Sparrow Terrace. Upon hearing Cao Cao's whispered words, I couldn't help but look up in surprise. Sure enough, seeing Ake's stunning appearance, she let out a rude sigh. What a beauty! Sun Yu once told him that Cao Cao was a good wife. But Ake doesn't seem to be a wife. Su Chu, full of doubts, walked up to Sun Yu and asked. Lord Sun, didn't you say that the Prime Minister likes wives? Why did he say these things today? Sun Yu stroked his beard, and his old face showed a reasonable smile. He lowered his voice and said. Everyone has a love for beauty, and the most beautiful woman in her prime is 89% in her prime. And 9 out of 10 women have already been married. The Prime Minister has a fondness for beautiful wives. Although Su Chu's mind was single-minded, it was not dull. After being instigated by Sun Yu, he naturally understood. Nodding his head, he chuckled heartily. Originally, the Prime Minister only had a simple fondness for beauties. His voice is not low. Many civil and military officials present looked at each other and dared not speak casually like Su Chu. Afraid of angering Cao Cao and causing a fatal accident. Cao Cao didn't make a fuss or get angry, pointing at Su Chu and laughing. Su Chu still understands me. During the reign of Emperor Wen of Sui, Daxing City, Xi'an, was established. Wearing a king's crown, with a long upper body and a short lower body, a prominent forehead, a peculiar appearance, and a gaze that resembles that of a king, Yang Jianzheng and Empress Dugujialua are admiring miracles together. Yang Jian looked at the beauty in the sky in a daze, not even realizing that saliva was flowing from the corner of his mouth. Empress Dugujialua beside her angrily reached out and grabbed Yang Jian's ear. With anger in his eyes, but still maintaining a smile, he asked. Your Majesty, is it the beauty in the miracles who looks better, or am I better looking? Yang Jian's wife was strict and his ears were sore from being pulled, and he suddenly regained consciousness. The Empress looks good. The Empress looks good, she exclaimed in a busy voice. Dugu Jialua still didn't let go and continued to smile angrily, asking, where do I look good? The Empress has a tall and plump figure, with a face like a full moon, phoenix eyes and apricot cheeks, eyes like paint, shining like a god, and skin like condensed fat. The Empress is the most beautiful woman in the world. Yang Jian spoke a hearty compliment. This made Dugu Jialua's anger dissipate quite a bit. Released the hand that grabbed Yang Jian's ear. Yang Jian's gaze also narrowed a lot, not daring to stare directly at Ake. But still intentionally or unintentionally glanced over. During the reign of Emperor Xuanzong of Tang Dynasty, the bustling eastern capital of Luoyang was located. In a bustling tavern. Li Bai and Du Fu met here, drinking and having fun. When a beautiful woman appears in the sky, many people are ashamed of etiquette and dare not look directly at false beauties. Only a hint of brilliance flashed in Li Bai's bright and lively gaze. He boldly grabbed the wine jug from the table and poured it into his own mouth. Opening one's mouth and uttering words, as if with the momentum of a fierce tiger descending the mountain. It's rare to see such a beautiful woman in the world. With such a beautiful scene, I want to recite a poem. Brother Du, you are full of talent. Why don't we improvise a poem based on this beauty? Li Bai was dressed neatly, with a jade belt tied around his waist and a cloth scarf tied around his head, making him look charming and charming. It has a somewhat ethereal demeanor, elegant temperament, and extraordinary appearance. His arrogant and flamboyant personality has attracted a lot of criticism from the tavern. However, seeing him as Li Bai, who is well known throughout the country and praised by everyone, these people's eyes suddenly became more respectful and worshipful. Before Du Fu could speak, Li Bai had already blurted out. The sun's luster fades away, the flowers are filled with smoke, and the moon is as clear as a vegetable sorrow without sleep. Compared to the bold and carefree Li Bai, Du Fu was in his prime, but he stumbled and was trapped in the city of Luoyang. Although there is a passion for serving the country and the people, there is a lack of talent. My mood is slightly dull. Brotherly, my poetry is critical, he said with a shy wave of his hand. Li Bai boldly drank 3 cups and said, it's okay, Brother Du, you can play as you please. Du Fu drank all the wine in his glass and let out a slight sigh before slowly saying. The emerald leaves hang down on the temples and lips, and the beads press down on the waist, steady and comfortable. Good. Good poem. Li Bai laughed heartily and poured a glass of wine for Du Fu. The two of them became friends at first sight, reciting poetry, drinking, and having fun together as equals. Established a deep friendship, close as brothers. Ake's attire is very stylish and sexy. People from all dynasties have never seen this before, and for a moment they looked a bit dazed. A pair of eyes almost stuck to Ake's body, no matter how hard they moved, they couldn't move away. Some people like it, but naturally there are also many corrupt scholars who cannot understand this advanced style. Shake your head in an extremely low voice and start talking to yourself. In broad daylight, it's magnificent. Wearing such revealing clothes. It's really vulgar. It's not pleasing to the eye. It's against the weather, it's against the weather. Low. Low. Dot. When the anger in their hearts was almost over, they all closed their mouths. This is the hero chosen by the immortals. If they dare to criticize loudly, they probably don't need the immortal to do it. Those devout believers, including kings, nobles, generals, and ministers who pursue immortality, I'm afraid we'll kill them alive on the spot. Su Yu saw Ake appear. Without hesitation, he blurted out, Jingke is here. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Is Jingke the most beautiful person? Jingke society dies, Emperor Wen of Sui withers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Is Jingke the most beautiful person? Jingke society died, Emperor Wen of Sui withered, Emperor Wen of Han suck. Suyu saw Ake appear. Without hesitation, he blurted out, Jingke is here. Ake was originally named Jingke, a veteran player of the king. Suyu has also been referring to Ake, who changed his name, as Jingke. Suyu didn't expect his ordinary words. But it caused a huge uproar in the various heavens and realms after the Warring States period. Many men have a fondness for women in the sky. I suddenly felt a shiver all over my body, and I was so scared that I woke up a lot in an instant. This stunning woman is actually the famous scholar Jingke. Li Shimin was completely dumbfounded. Isn't it that the immortal made a mistake? Isn't Jingke a man? Previously, he also had a good impression of women. Now I feel an inexplicable discomfort all over my body. Although the woman's appearance in the sky did not change, he already had a knot in his heart. Wei Jing suppressed a smile and said, Your Majesty, perhaps it's a fairy who doesn't know the famous scholars on earth. I remember it wrong. Li Shimin was speechless and said, I finally had a heart attack, but ended up losing so thoroughly. During the Warring States period, Jingke was tasked with assassinating King Ying Zheng of Qin. Arriving at the bank of the Yishui River, I met Gao Jianli, Prince Yan Dan, and others who came to bid farewell. Famous pianist Gao Jianli played a piece of music to bid farewell to Jingke. The wind is howling and the water is cold, and the brave soldiers leave without returning. Farewell with Yi Shui, cold north wind, cold heart and bone. The sound of Cao Cao cries out for sorrow in heaven and earth, shaking people's hearts. The crown prince of Yan, his courtiers, guests, and scholars all sat in white clothes. A snow-white expanse, reflecting a blue expanse of Yi Shui, with a cold and icy sky and a setting sun like blood. The sound of horses hissing and swallowing, the sound of geese chirping in the sky, and even heroes shedding tears. Gao gradually breaks away from building, Jingke sings in harmony, awakens for eternity, and mourns for thousands of miles. The mournful song is not yet complete, and tears are all over. The crown prince of Yan was gloomy, tears streaming down his cheeks. Jingke, carrying the mission of assassinating the king of Qin, stood up and parted ways with everyone. A strange phenomenon appeared in the sky, and a miracle appeared after the golden light. Everyone is present enough to witness the miracle. When I saw Ying Zheng being selected by the immortal, the hearts of Jingke and others became increasingly desolate. Subsequently, a graceful woman appeared, and the attention of Gao Jianli and others was diverted. Seeing such a delightful beauty, Gao Jianli and others only slightly eased their mood. Since ancient times, beauties have been easy to attract people's attention. She is truly a rare beauty, but unfortunately, this woman is only known for her presence in the sky, which is rare in the human world. Gao gradually looked at the beauty in the sky, attempting to conceal the sadness in his heart through the beauty of a beauty. But what nobody expected was, the voice of the gods slowly came from within the sky. Jingke is here. Originally quite desolate and heroic, Gao gradually left the crowd. Suddenly, his face became eerie. The gaze quietly pondered the contrast between the woman and Jingke's heroic appearance. Jingke was slightly stunned, with a pair of bright and lively eyes staring straight at the woman in the sky. He is very confident that he did not hear wrong. The immortal does indeed refer to the woman in the sky as Jingke. Is this what the immortal imagined me to be? Surprisingly, is she such a graceful beauty? Jingke's handsome face immediately turned red. Some words were incoherent, and they looked at Gao Jianli and others at a loss. At this time, Yan Dan, Gao Jianli, and others. We all saw his fiery and enchanting appearance in the game of immortals. Being selected by the immortal was originally a good thing. But Jingke didn't expect the immortal to imagine him as a woman. And it also allows his close friends and family, such as Gao Jinli, to watch repeatedly. When I think of my sexy and curvaceous figure. Jingke felt so ashamed that he wished he could find a crack in the ground and crawl in. Gao Jinli and others also quickly moved their gaze away from the sky with a somewhat complicated expression. They just don't know how to face Jingke at such times. Previously, he called out in front of Jingke that the women in the sky were beautiful. Unexpectedly, the immortal admitted that this stunning woman was the Jingke they were going to part ways with on this trip. For a moment, Yan Dan, Gao Jinli, and others dared not look directly at Jingke, who was close at Chi. Just their gaze, still unable to resist wandering on the stunning woman in the sky. Jingke, I didn't mean to covet your body. What else does Gao Jinli want to explain? It's okay not to explain this explanation. Suddenly, everyone's expression became even more strange. Why explain why you haven't coveted someone else's body? Isn't this a place without 300 taels of silver? You two are both men. Jingke awkwardly stood still. A generation of martial arts heroes, now also like a young girl in a deep boudoir. Twisted and twisted, blushing like a ripe persimmon. The key is that all his relatives and friends are still constantly scrutinizing the woman in the sky. That pair of naked and slightly sneaky gazes. At one point, Jingke felt somewhat helpless and stood in a mess in the wind, feeling helpless. This is more unbearable than a failed mission, killing him with 10,000 arrows piercing through his heart. The originally tragic and heroic scene suddenly became very subtle. During the Sui dynasty, Emperor Wen of Sui, Yang Jian, was so shocked that his legs went limp and he collapsed into the arms of Dugu Jiaoluo. Trembling as he looked at the woman in the sky. Is this Jingke? The hero Jingke who assassinated the king of Qin. It is said that Jingke is a hero of his generation. How could I have any thoughts about him? If he had known that this stunning woman was Jingke, he would never have had any evil thoughts. Dugu Jiaoluo actually felt happy in his heart. Suppressing a smile to appease Yang Jian. Do you dare to look at other women in the future? During the Three Kingdoms period, Copper Bird Terrace. When Cao Cao heard that this beautiful woman was actually Jingke, his face turned green. I used to happily say in front of everyone that I like beauties. As a result, the one in the sky is not a beauty, but a warring state scholar named Jingke. The civil and military officials attending the banquet on the entire Copper Sparrow Terrace were even more silent as if they were cicadas. Those who are discerning dare not look back into the sky. At such times, only pretending to know nothing is good. I really glanced away and regarded the famous scholar Jingke as a beauty. I'll punish myself 3 cups. Cao Cao suppressed his inner panic and pretended to be calm, drinking 3 glasses of wine in a row. I found myself a step down. Sun Yu quickly agreed. Immortals' means are unparalleled, and they even do the task of transforming male and female characters perfectly. We are also ashamed, we have all fallen victim to the immortal spell. The other courtiers also quickly agreed. Yes. My clumsy eyes have all fallen for the immortal spell. During the reign of Emperor Xuanzong of Tang, the eastern capital was Luoyang. Li Bai was so shocked that he didn't have time to swallow a sip of wine and sprayed Du Fu all over. Half of the drunken wine woke up in an instant. Is this Jingke? Du Fu was cleaning up the wine on his body. The two of them were originally chatting happily. At this moment, they were all gloomy with a black face and remained silent. He improvised poetry before, but it wasn't for the beauty in the sky. But it was given to the famous scholar Jingke of the Qin dynasty. Emperor Ai of Han, Lu Heng, hugged his male favorite Dong Xian. Watch miracles together in the dormitory. Emperor Wen of Han, who was not originally very interested in the women in the sky curtain. When I heard that the woman in the sky was Jingke. Suddenly, my eyes lit up. The immortal really understands my heart, I really like this. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Illustrated by the impossible, the assassination of Qin failed, and Yan Dan Jing Ke became confused. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7. Illustrated by an impossible dagger, assassination of Qin failed, and Yan Dan Jing Ke was lost. Su Yu looked at Ake, who was coming fiercely. I didn't immediately hand over the flash and run over the wall. But walk back against the wall by the river. Teach the audience in the live broadcast room while operating. Don't worry when encountering enemy assassin heroes. There's no need to panic at this distance, the king of Qin is walking around the pillar to the extreme. Move around, do it with your hands, yo, it's uncomfortable. Su Yu easily dodged the pursuit of enemy assassins without even needing to flash. She smiled somewhat smugly. Little Jingke, how dare you take action against Ying Zheng, who unified the 7 countries world. Upon hearing these words, Yan Dan's mind instantly exploded. The immortal said that Ying Zheng unified the 7 countries world. Although Qin is indeed powerful now, it overwhelms the other 6 countries. But it may not be easy to completely defeat the 6 countries and achieve unification. Back then, the state of Qi was strong and arrogant. Causing the 5 kingdoms to invade Qi and completely crushing it, the powerful Qi state will never recover. The state of Qin is only as strong as the state of Qi when it was strong. How could the 7 kingdoms be unified? And didn't he already send Jing Ke to assassinate Ying Zheng? Did the assassination attempt fail? Ying Zheng is not only alive, but also unifies the 6 countries and dominates the world. Did Jing Ke fail to assassinate Qin? In a moment of urgency, Prince Yan Dan clicked the plus sign in front of him. What I wanted to say to the immortal in my heart, I actually communicated directly with Tianmu. A barrage of bullets slowly drifted through the sky. Prince Yan's pill. Did Jing Ke fail to assassinate Qin? During the Great Qin period, Ying Zheng, who was patrolling the east, saw this barrage drifting by and was so shocked that he stood up from the dragon chair. What's the situation? The Crown Prince Dan of Yan has been communicating with the immortal. Isn't Prince Yan Dan already dead? What's going on? The people of the heavens and all realms seem to see the clues behind it. Is Prince Yan communicating with the immortal? What exactly is this situation? How can we communicate with the immortal? What kind of attention is that? Is it really a way to communicate with immortals? So how do we pay attention to immortals? Su Yu looked at the slowly drifting barrage and couldn't help but take a moment. The fish that missed out on 9-year compulsory education. Do you not even know about such an important historical event as Jing Ke's assassination of Qin? Soon Su Yu was relieved. Although he knows these, it does not mean that everyone in the country knows them. No matter how common things are, there are always some people who are not informed. Is it just that the netizen who made this statement seems to be named Yan Taizi Dan? Good guy, was someone playing with you? Prince Yan Dan asked him if Jing Ke's attempt to assassinate Qin had failed. The degree of explosion is no less than someone asking him in the live broadcast room what his job is. If it were other anchors, they would definitely turn a blind eye. But Su Yu is different. In the past few days since he started broadcasting, he hasn't had a fixed audience yet. There are no bullet comments at all. If an audience is willing to post bullet comments, it indicates that they are definitely interested in his live broadcast. This is the first barrage in his live broadcast room, and it is also an important step in his live broadcast process. Su Yu remained calm and patient, saying, "This Prince Yan Dan, I can answer your question." Jing Ke presented the map of Yan State, allowing him to approach the king of Qin. When he fully unfolded the map, a dagger appeared. This gave birth to an illusion, to see through a picture and a dagger. Prince Dan of Yan instinctively glanced at the map in Jing Ke's arms. At the end of the map, there is indeed a hidden sword and residual rainbow. There are many guards around the king of Qin, and the palace is heavily guarded. Anyone who enters the palace will strip off their clothes and search for themselves, and no sword is allowed to enter. If you want to assassinate the king of Qin, you can only hide the weapon inside the map. It can be seen from this that every word spoken by the immortal is true. The king of Qin walked around the pillar to avoid Jingke's assassination. Finally, Jingke was killed by the guards who came to escort him. Jingke, Gao Jianli, and others finished listening to this speech. Suddenly, they all froze in place. According to the immortal's words, Jingke's assassination will definitely fail in the end. The powerful Qin state will unify the 6 states. Confusion and emptiness suddenly appeared in the hearts of everyone. This is a deadly assassination. Nothing can change. Are you still going to assassinate him? Gao Jianli asked softly. I don't know if it's for Jingke or Yan Dan. Jingke looked up at the sky and remained silent as the wind blew through his hair. A generation of heroes, at this moment, seemed so lonely and helpless. Yan Dan lowered her head and remained silent, falling into a deep silence. This is an assassination that is bound to fail. Since he has learned the result, should he still let Jingke do it? Follow me if you like the anchor. Follow is the plus sign in the upper right corner, and after following, you can communicate with the anchor. So you didn't think his words would be of any use. After all, what needs to be followed has already been followed. And the live broadcast room is not very popular now. This is the only audience member of Prince Yan Dan, who is watching his live broadcast attentively. Ying Zheng. Communication anchor. Can you actually communicate with the anchor? And will the anchor really respond? Although I don't know what Yan Dan really is like. But everyone who always treats the anchor as a fairy. Someone has already communicated with the anchor. At the reminder of Su Yu. Everyone turned their gaze to the plus sign. Jingke, what do you think? Gao Jianli asked Jingke. But I have already seen that Jingke has already clicked on attention. We still don't know if this is truly effective or not. Gao gradually spoke in an urgent voice. Jingke said, the crown prince has already demonstrated to us and there have been no abnormalities. Yan Dan nodded and said, not bad, I clicked on this plus sign in a hurry to communicate with the anchor. For a while, the number of followers in the live broadcast room grew rapidly. The number of bullet comments also surged out like a tide in an instant. A live broadcast room that had been cold for a long time before a barrage appeared. Countless barrage suddenly emerged. It's dazzling to see. What happened? Su Yu looked at the sudden heat and calmly pondered. After he answered the question about Yan Taizi Dan. Is the popularity of live streaming suddenly skyrocketing? It suddenly reached a heat of 100,000. The live broadcast room also instantly became somewhat famous. Although not as good as the top anchors at the forefront of the section, it also surpasses many small live streaming rooms that have been painstakingly operated for several months. Are these people colluding well? Seeing him answering these questions so seriously. So everyone came to see his fun. These audience IDs are historical figures such as Emperor Ying Zheng, military immortal Han Xin, and Empress Yang Yuhuan. Seems like some history enthusiasts. To find his joy and test his historical level. Are you joking? My history is super good, isn't it? But what's all this barrage about? Can the anchor teach me the method of immortality? Can the immortal point out a clear path for me? I was just kicked out by the wife of the pavilion chief and didn't even have a place to eat. The immortal is here, please accept my respect. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Shang Yang's reform, abolishing Confucianism and Taoism, Confucius angered. King Zhao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Shang Yang's reform, abolishing Confucianism and Taoism, Confucius angered. Zhao Wangxin's slanderous words make integrity quite numb. But what's all this barrage about? Can the anchor teach me the method of immortality? Can the immortal point out a clear path for me? I was just kicked out by the wife of the pavilion chief and didn't even have a place to eat. The immortal is here, please accept my respect. Combined with the IDs of these people, it looks quite similar. Do audiences nowadays enjoy playing role-playing? Looking at his live stream, it seems that there are some role-playing fans who are looking for fun. City people are really good at playing. After receiving attention for live streaming, Su Yu's sarcastic remarks also increased. What he didn't expect was that he had already walked around the wall back to the tower. Ache across from me seems a bit reckless. Move the second skill over and stick it with a red buff. It seems like I'm trying to hit his form or force his flashes. The people from all over the world who are watching the live broadcast. It seems that everyone has gradually understood the operating mode of this sandbox game. Starting to speak up and provide advice for the anchor. The enemy is a notorious assassin. Aren't the anchor withdrawing yet? A hero does not suffer immediate losses. Back then, the first emperor relied on the help of guards to escape the danger. Nowadays, the anchor Ying Zheng is facing the assassin Jingke alone. If he doesn't leave, he may die on the spot. Su Yu was not in a hurry and suddenly activated the second skill to accelerate. It did not directly retract inside the tower, but walked around the outer wall of the tower. And start explaining your own operations. If I withdrew from the tower, Jingke would definitely have withdrawn. Jingke was very weak in the early stage, while Ying Zheng was very strong in the early stage, as long as he maintained a certain distance and pulled. I can easily drag it down. I'll try using Ying Zheng to counter-kill Jingke. Jingke. The anchor wants to use Ying Zheng to kill me. I am a top swordsman, can't I defeat Ying Zheng? During the Great Qin period, the first emperor Ying Zheng said, "Are you so powerful? Can you still counter-kill Jingke?" Back then, he was chased by Jingke and ran around the pillar, so panicked that he couldn't even pull out his sword. But now he can play tricks to kill Jingke. As expected by Su Yu, Ake saw that he had not withdrawn from the tower. Immediately caught up. But he always kept a distance from Ake, playing and walking. Move, I'll insert. Soon, Ake's health was worn down a lot. At this moment, Ake also realized something was wrong and attempted to escape. Su Yu didn't give Ake a chance at all and immediately flashed after him. I want to run now, isn't it too late? Soon, Ake, who couldn't escape, was stabbed to death by Su Yu. After a coquettish moan, Ake fell down filled with regret. Emperor Shi clapped his hands and burst out laughing, All right. I never expected that one day, I would be able to personally blade Jingke. Back then, Jingke chased after him in the main hall, causing him to feel embarrassed. It has always been his shame. Now this shame has been washed away in the game of immortals. How could he not be happy? Although it was just a game, in the eyes of Emperor Ying Zheng, it seemed like he had actually killed Jingke with his own hands. My whole body started to tremble with excitement. Zhao Gao congratulated and said, "Congratulations to your majesty, congratulations to your majesty. With the help of the anchor, you have wielded your hand against your former enemy." The other officials of the Qin state also congratulated, "Congratulations your majesty, congratulations your majesty." Quickly, there was always an identical barrage scrolling through the screen. Zhao Jianglianpe said, "Why could Qin destroy the 6 kingdoms?" This, Zhao Jianglianpe fired several barrage shots in a row. By swiping the screen, it caught Su Yu's attention. It seems like he's really in a hurry. This is too deep into the play, isn't it? However, Su Yu did not turn a blind eye to this. Only pet fans can make the live broadcast room thrive. Su Yu is ready to have a good fight with him. The destruction of the 6 states by Qin was inevitable. Firstly, it was through several generations of capable rulers that Qin gradually became stronger. The most important thing is the Shang reform. Economically, the abandonment of wells and the opening of fields, the reward of farming and weaving, the emphasis on agriculture and commerce, and the unified measurement and balance greatly enhanced the national strength of Qin. Militarily, awarding titles and rewards for military achievements broke the hereditary monopoly and greatly increased the fighting spirit of Qin soldiers. Politically, abolish the system of hereditary officials, and generally promote the county system. In the judicial system, the Qin law is formulated and lenient punishments are imposed. The system of Shi Wu and Lian Zhua is implemented. If one of the Shi Wu families is guilty, all other families should report it, otherwise they will be punished together. In terms of cultural customs, burning Confucian books and clarifying laws and regulations. Abandoning Confucianism's idea of governing the country with benevolence, adopting legalism, and governing the country with strict punishment and law. Those who have made contributions will be rewarded heavily, while those who have made mistakes will be punished severely. The request to close the private door is to implement a separation order and prohibit fathers, sons, and brothers from living together. By strictly governing the country under the rule of law, the Qin state has become prosperous and strong, and the military's combat capabilities have reached the peak of the Seven Kingdoms. Regarding this, Lian Pe nodded and remained silent. He has had many interactions with the Qin army and is very familiar with them. The combat capability of the Qin army has indeed frightened the 6 countries. Confucius shook his head and said, "It's just about rewarding soldiers with military achievements and inducing their desire to fight. Prohibiting fathers, sons, and brothers from living together. What is the practice of sitting together and killing innocent neighbors?" Qin state can truly be described as a model of ritual collapse and music corruption. The Confucian philosophy he founded is to govern the country with benevolence. The state of Qin has just abolished Confucianism and adopted harsh laws and punishments to govern the world. Such a country may be able to rule the world, but it is destined not to rule the world for a long time. When Confucius thought of the state of Qin, his face was filled with disgust. "I even had an impulse to take 3,000 disciples to the state of Qin to cause trouble. Burning Confucian books. It's really frustrating." Confucius was born with his head on the top of a dike, so he was named Zhutian. He is 9 feet and 6 inches long, and people call him Long, which varies from person to person. He is full of anger throughout his life, without the gentleness of a scholar. Instead, it looks like a tall and burly beast. Others took a few steps back in fear. Laozi remained calm and caressed his beard, chuckling calmly as he said, "Young people, don't be impulsive. Everything in the world follows the way of heaven. We are just mortal beings, and it is almost impossible for us to change the overall situation. It's better to let nature take its course. As the saying goes, rise and fall go hand in hand. Confucianism may have flourished in the state of Qin when it declined. You don't have to be too sad." Confucius looked up and let out a long sigh, then clenched his fist the size of a sandbag. Helplessly sat down. Lian Pe continued to ask. "But it's not enough for Qin state to just rely on its strong national strength to want to destroy the 6 states. General Li Mu of the state of Zhao is invincible in his military strategy, and his military ability is not inferior to mine. With Li Mu present, no one can defeat the state of Zhao. How did the state of Qin destroy the state of Zhao?" A mesmerizing divine sound came from the sky. Li Mu was killed by a traitor, and King Zhao believed in slander and assassinated him. Shortly after Li Mu's death, the Qin army captured the capital city of Zhao, Handan, and the state of Zhao was destroyed. Upon hearing this, Lian Pe was like 5 thunderbolts at the top, and suddenly froze in place. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Robbed River Crab, Ying Zheng angrily rebukes Mi Yue, Emperor Wu of Han. Coaxing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Robbed River Crab, Ying Zheng angrily rebukes Mi Yue, and Emperor Wu of Han. Coaxing the family to show filial piety. Lian Po's old face suddenly shed 2 lines of muddy tears. At least Zhao is also a strong country with many capable officials and famous generals. Unfortunately, King Zhao always listens to the slander of petty people. Heaven is about to destroy Zhao. Lian Po's tears welled up in his eyes. Although he was in the state of Wei, he had always been longing for the state of Zhao in his heart. But what he ultimately received was such news. At this moment, he finally understood why the state of Qin could unify the world. It was Ming Jun who allowed Qin to dominate the world for several generations in a row. Any virtuous ruler of the state of Zhao would not end up in such a tragic fate. If Li Mu didn't kill him, the only one who could save Zhao from fire and water would be me. Lian Po let out a mournful sigh. He also left the state of Zhao because he was ostracized by the king of Zhao. Cannot proactively go back to find King Zhao. But as long as King Zhao is willing to send envoys to find him, he will definitely be willing to go back and report without saying a word. In his heart, he still misses the state of Zhao. Jingke and others also let out a long sigh. General Li Mu's reputation shook the world, and even the Hu people were obediently governed by General Li Mu. I didn't expect to end up like this. This King Zhao also has eyes that don't recognize pearls. Seeing Zhao Jianglian Pe, he did not continue to ask questions. Su Yu also focused on starting the operation. After clearing the middle line of the troops, start turning to support your teammates. Activate the second skill to accelerate and soon arrive at the path of confrontation. Ying Zheng really enjoyed playing, the support was very fast. Emperor Ying Zheng said, "Why does this sound a bit strange?" The hero on the opposite side of the road did not miss sight. Su Yu began to hide in the grass near the river and started playing river crabs. Everyone has come, we can't catch anyone, we can't just go back without success. Su Yu observed the movements of enemy heroes on the mini-map. While playing with river crabs. Watching the river crab have over 1,000 remaining health. Suddenly, a yellow light fell from the sky, and over 1,000 real damages directly took the river crab. The figure in the opposite grass was also instantly exposed. It's the opposing road, Mi Yue. The gaze of the people from all over the world also fell on Mi Yue's seductive and graceful figure. Mi Yue's figure is even more enchanting than Jingke's. The thin purple-black tight-fitting clothes were tightly attached to the graceful body, highlighting the already soft and fair skin. What should be missed, what should not be missed is even more intriguing. Walking on the road is like swaying willows in the wind, with a natural seductive bone that captivates and captures the soul. Many men feel their blood pumping just by looking at her. Sinking in the allure of women and unable to extricate oneself. The woman this time must be a woman. Such a pace is not something that a man can walk out of. The beauty of this woman's appearance is even more enchanting than Jingke. I don't know where this person is from, is it the legendary fox spirit Daji? Everyone curiously guessed the woman's identity. Su Yu's hard-earned river crab was stolen, and he spoke with some displeasure. Is there any royal law or law to rob someone in broad daylight? Ying Zheng, who has been following the live broadcast room, angrily spoke up. This woman must not be a good person to associate with thieves like Jingke and stand opposite my enemy. Zhao Gao immediately agreed. If we find out the identity of this woman, our family will personally cut her to pieces and execute all 9 clans. To relieve your majesty's hatred. The barrage of the two seemed to give some clues to the people of all worlds. Calling Jingke a thief, besides Qin Emperor Ying Zheng, there shouldn't be anyone else in the world, right? And these two people's IDs happen to be the first Emperor Ying Zheng and the commander of the Zhongche Prefecture Zhao Gao. Han Gao Zulu Bang. Is the speaker really Emperor Qin? Han Prime Minister Cao Cao. Young Cao Cao, see the late emperor. Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shimin, said, "Your esteemed ancestors are here, and the people of the world are honored." Emperor Ying Zheng looked at these unprecedented imperial titles. Suddenly fell into confusion and fear. Pointing at the barrage and trembling, he spoke. "What exactly is going on here? Immortals can tell you, what about the later generations of the great Qin dynasty?" Ying Zheng continued to ask questions. But there were too many bullet comments, and his bullet comments were instantly pushed up. No one answered his question at all. And the emperors of later generations looked at the different and better country names and names in the barrage. Some are famous figures from past dynasties, while others have never heard of them at all. Even if these emperors were foolish, their advisors could see the clues behind it. Everyone guessed the rotation of dynasties in this world. Almost all the emperors instantly broke through their defenses. Just as many emperors were about to collapse. Su Yu is still focused on fighting against Mi Yue. Mi Yue didn't leave after grabbing the river crab, but instead started fighting with him in the river. "Mi Yue, you still haven't left after grabbing something. Then don't leave." The first emperor, who was originally somewhat in a state of collapse, heard that it was Empress Dowager Mi Yue of Pre-Qin who was fighting against him. Suddenly, the whole person froze in place. I stuttered as I spoke. Mi Yue. Is it my great-grandmother Mi Yue? Mi Yue is his great-grandmother. He has to respectfully call Mi Yue Granny when he sees her. But he was still cursing Mi Yue for not being a good person before. Now Ying Zheng has a fiery face, wishing he could slap himself twice on the spot. No one can curse their ancestors. I didn't expect his great-grandmother Mi Yue to also be selected by the immortal, which is too embarrassing. Zhao Gao was even more frightened and limped all over, weakly falling to the ground. His eyes were filled with fear and apprehension. What did I just say? Previously, he threatened to cut Mi Yue to pieces. Linking Mi Yue to the 9 clans. Are you joking? Is he going to kill Ying Zheng for rebellion? It's good if Ying Zheng doesn't implicate him in the 9 clans. When Zhao Gao reacted, he slapped himself wildly. Damn it, servant. Damn it, servant. His every slap was full of strength. A few slaps, my face was swollen from the fan. But he dare not stop at all. Soon, blood flowed out along his swollen lips. But he still keeps slapping himself in the face. Talking becomes unclear and stuttering. Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, said, when the first emperor became so cruel, he even cursed his own grandmother, causing great filial piety. My family. Confucius, the Confucian sage, said, now I feel at ease. But this also conforms to the style of the Qin state. At this moment, Ying Zheng's face was covered in black lines. If he had known earlier that this woman was Mi Yue, he wouldn't have had time to show respect. How dare you speak shamelessly? Awkwardness, it's too embarrassing. Li Si saw that Ying Zheng was not in a good mood and immediately stepped forward to comfort him, saying, Your Majesty, don't worry. There are many people with the same name and surname in the world. Perhaps this is a woman from later generations who shares the same name as Empress Mi. Upon hearing this, Ying Zheng's expression softened significantly. Li Si also began to explain to other emperors in the barrage. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Anecdotes of Mi Yue, Confucius Accuses, Ying Zheng Ma, Wu Zhe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Anecdotes of Mi Yue, Confucius Accuses, Ying Zheng becomes numb, and Wu Zetian remains silent. Su Yu saw an audience member named Qin Xiang Li Si. I have been explaining that Mi Yue may be a person with the same name and surname. And not the ancestral mother of Ying Zheng in history. Then he spoke up and explained. The hero Mi Yue you see is precisely a character modeled after Empress Dowager Xian of the Great Qin dynasty. As he spoke, Su Yu began to educate these role-playing enthusiasts about history. It's not just popular science, but actually chatting to appease the audience. After all, these people all know history. But still pretending to know nothing. Mi Yue was originally from the state of Chu and later became the concubine of King Huiwen of Qin, known as the 8 sons of Mi. King Wu of Qin died for lifting a cauldron. As King Wu of Qin had no son, his brothers competed for the throne. King Wuling of Zhao sent Zhao Gu, the deputy county magistrate, to send Prince Ji, who was held hostage in the state of Yan, back to the state of Qin. With the help of Wei Ran, the younger brother of Mi Yue's father, Gongzi Ji succeeded to the throne as King Zhaoxiang of Qin. Wei Ran subsequently quelled the internal turmoil of the royal family's struggle for the throne, executed Empress Huiwen, Prince Xuang, and Prince Yong, expelled Queen Wu of Qin to the state of Wei, and eliminated all the princes who were at odds with King Zhaoxiang of Qin. Due to the young age of King Zhaoxiang of Qin, Mi Yue was appointed as the Empress Dowager to govern, with Wei Ran as the regent. Empress Dowager Xian of the Great Qin, Mi Yue, can also be considered a renowned woman for eternity. Su Yu's voice fell. Li Si no longer sent his own explanation in the barrage. The immortals have all admitted, what else does he have to say? However, Li Si is also an expert at observing words and expressions. It was evident that Ying Zheng's expression was not right. Immediately changed his tone and said, "Congratulations, Your Majesty." "Congratulations, Your Majesty." Ying Zheng was all numb with congratulations and said angrily. "Li Si, what else do you have to congratulate on? Where does the congratulations come from?" Li Sideo said, "Your Majesty, Empress Dowager Xian has gained the love of immortals and created heroes through her life stories. Another capable person in the Great Qin was selected by the immortal, which is truly the pleasure of Your Majesty, the joy of the Great Qin." Ying Zheng's expression finally relaxed. "I have 2 talented people selected by immortals in Daqin, it's really a blessing for Daqin." This statement instantly reversed the wind direction in the barrage. Previously mocking Emperor Wu of the Qin dynasty, he immediately became envious in real name. Envy, so many people in the Qin dynasty have been selected by immortals. Confucius still had a disdainful expression on his face, and the burning of books filled him with hostility towards the state of Qin. Why envy the state of Qin? Such a country with a collapsed ritual and music must not be a serious person. Ying Zheng and Empress Dowager Xian must have an unclean history. Ying Zheng rubbed his nose and said, "Master Kong seems to have quite a big opinion on me and the Great Qin. Su Yu finds these role-playing audiences very interesting." He also joined in a casual chat and said, "Qin Emperor Ying Zheng is a serious person with no black material." "I have been innocent all my life," said Ying Zheng with a cold and stern smile. However, Empress Dowager Xian Mi Yue had 3 men in her life. Confucius became interested and said, "Anchor, tell me quickly. I want to hear what's wrong with the Qin Empress Dowager, who has broken down her rites and music. When it comes to the men of Mi Yue." The first emperor's face instantly turned black. Mi Yue's first man was the king of Itsu. The 2 met and fell in love at Yunmeng's. They fell in love and killed each other for more than 30 years, and had 2 sons. In the end, for the future of the state of Qin, Mi Yue designed a deception and killed the king of Itsu. She relieved the troubles in the western part of the state of Qin. From then on, we could concentrate on heading east and lay a solid foundation for the unification of the Qin state. The credit was no less than Zhang Yi and Sima Qiu's capture of Bashu. Emperor Ying Zheng said, "This is the great righteousness of sacrificing oneself for the country." "What else do you have to say, Confucius?" Confucius gave a cold smile and said, "For the sake of profit, even one's beloved can be killed. Qin is truly a cold-blooded country that pursues fame and profit." Li Si also wants to help Ying Zheng speak up. But he also studied under Confucianism and was a disciple of Confucianism. If one rashly contradicts Confucius, they may also be criticized by the world. Especially those Confucian scholars who respect their teachers and values the way, should not add fuel or vinegar to make them infamous for eternity. He can only observe the nose and the heart, and remain silent without any help. Mi Yue's second man is King Huiwen of Qin, Ying Zheng, the true first king of Qin. Mi Yue and Ying Zheng gave birth to 3 more sons, including the future King Zhao of Qin. Behind a powerful man, there must also be a more powerful woman. Mi Yue. Ying Zheng loves Mi Yue, but he loves his Qin state even more. In order to resolve the future succession dispute, the eldest son of Baodi, Gongzi Dang, succeeded to the throne. Therefore, he exiled Mi Yue's mother and son to the war-torn Yan state. Later, Ying Dang passed away at an early age, and it was only then that Mi Yue and her son were able to return to the state of Qin. Confucius burst into laughter. The heavenly way has a good cycle of reincarnation, and the heavens have spared no one. I said that in such a cold-blooded country, interests are paramount, even family ties are disregarded. Look, isn't retribution here? Now, Confucius also understood the meaning of Laozi's words about the way of heaven. My heart suddenly felt a lot of joy. Mi Yue's third man, the male favorite Wei Choufu. Although Wei Choufu is named Choufu, he is actually a beautiful man with a delicate appearance. When he entered the palace as a eunuch, he bribed himself to protect himself. Later, she was favored by Mi Yue and became her male favorite. But this is just a plaything for Empress Dowager Xian to masturbate for the rest of her life. Before the death of Empress Dowager Qin Xian, Mi Yue, she had planned to let Wei Choufu be buried. However, after being persuaded by Yong Rui, she reluctantly gave up. Ying Zheng sat awkwardly on the dragon chair. Although the car is extremely luxurious and comfortable, I feel uncomfortable no matter how I sit. Su Yu's words are undoubtedly exposing the hidden shortcomings of the Qin royal family. And his mother, Zhao Ji, also had actions similar to those of Empress Xian. If you expose Empress Xian, you can't expose my mother anymore. Ying Zheng thought to himself. Su Yu stopped when no one asked again. Ying Zheng also breathed a sigh of relief. Confucian scholars from all dynasties, led by Confucius. Everyone began to condemn Mi Yue's behavior. What a disobedient woman. The collapse of ritual and music, such a country, even if powerful, is beyond praise. The Confucian criticism in this language. Many emperors also joined in. Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shimin, said, "If you don't follow the path of women, you really deserve to die." Emperor Xianfeng said, "I agree with Emperor Taizong of Tang." Tang Gaozong Li Ji said, "I dare not agree." Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shimin, said, "You rebellious son, how dare you disobey the words of our ancestors? Are you going to be angry to death as your father and inherit my country?" Wu Zetian saw Li Shimin's barrage and shrank her neck, afraid to speak. Cixi said, "I think there's actually no need to set some rules that are so inhumane." Su Yu focused again on explaining the content of the live broadcast. Mi Yue has the ability to continuously regenerate health, and her early combat abilities are very strong. To defeat Mi Yue, you need to pay attention to your evasion skills, otherwise it's easy to be drained by Mi Yue. End of this chapter.